Let's welcome in a friend, Stacey They from the NFL Network, one of the best in the business, no question about it. Also part of our Bears preseason broadcasts right here on Fox 32 Chicago. And Stacey, I know you've been on the NFL Network all day long with wall-to-wall coverage on Black Monday for some coaches and the beginning of playoff week for teams like the Bears, so I really appreciate a couple of minutes with you here. And before we jump into the Bears, I really wanted to ask you, I saw your post on Instagram regarding your post-game interview on Sunday with the Lions' Aiden Hutchinson. He was real emotional about the Lions season, wasn't he?
He was. As you know, Lou, and thanks for having me. It's great to be with you. There were so many expectations for a team that had been essentially the champs of the NFC North, and it was a roller coaster because of the injury, but you always appreciate the opportunity in the heat of the moment to speak with these players. And it was a victory that they came in very intentionally for, and certainly one that didn't sit very well with the Chicago Bears. I don't know if I've seen Ben Johnson so irate after a loss than this one, but Aiden was emotional because of that injury coming back, 14 and a half sacks, and very appreciative to end the season on a good note.
You know, I know that we're going to talk about the Bears and the playoffs, but real quick, because Dan Campbell said after they lost in the NFC Championship a couple of years ago that it's so tough to get there and there's no guarantee that you'll ever get back. Did you get the feeling at all that maybe Hutchinson felt like their championship window may be closing?
I didn't sense that, actually. And in his response to me, he actually felt like they would come back better and stronger and surging than maybe they had this season. I think one of the bugaboos for the Detroit Lions has been their injury issues, especially on the defensive side of the football. Tom Brady, somebody, wink, wink, you're quite familiar with, Lou. He alluded to it in the broadcast, and maybe adjusting some of the things that they do because of how physical they are as a team. So we'll see how they transform. But one thing's for certain, this division is always good. The black and blue division has given us some good stuff this year, and it's pretty remarkable here. We're sitting with the Bears, who took the North, and the Packers facing off in the wild card round in Chicago for their just third playoff game ever.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. A year ago at this time, Bears were in the middle of a coaching search. Ben Johnson obviously got the job. You spent a lot of time with Ben, also Caleb Williams. At what point did you say, you know what, I think they might have something percolating here and it could be really good?
Honestly, to be quite frank, I felt that back in the offseason when I discovered and realized that Ben did have a very strategic plan for Caleb Williams and this offense. And it needed to start there, right? If you go back and just to the preseason elements, and then you listen to Caleb going into week 18, and hearing him discuss and talk about the constant meeting time, the time on task with Ben Johnson, the communication, Ben's consistency, all of those steps intentionally have happened. And I think there's a level of accountability with Ben Johnson that we felt even back to the offseason. And I think the players feel it. And the difference now is what he said, go do, they're doing, and it works more often than not when you win 11 games, right? So you take the game plan, it comes to fruition on the field, and now the players believe their head coach even more and their play caller even more. And I think that intentionality is something that you and I and the media base has felt. And I think it's something that the players have felt internally in the locker room.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because you're exactly right. Knowing Ben the way you do, you know, he likes to push his players' buttons in his way. And you look back in history, Bears haven't won a playoff game since 2011, I'm embarrassed to say as a Bears fan. Do you think he'll bring that up with his players? Do you think today's player even care about this franchise not winning a playoff game since 2011?
I think the players always care, but I think we're in a totally different era and time than 2011. You can use so many different things as motivation, Lou, in this game. And I think there's no more motivation than the way they finished against the Detroit Lions. You have to flip the switch, and it's a new season. And Ben told us that, again, in his very heated press conference. It was a short but heated press conference because they didn't end up controlling their destiny. And they played their starters. They wanted to win that football game. They didn't. And so I think you have to turn the page very quickly to a new season, as Ben alluded to. This is a fresh start for everybody. And you have an opportunity to win 4 in a row, which he said they did twice this past season. But when it comes to motivation, I think when you're playing the Green Bay Packers, who you have played more than any other team, and we've not seen two teams face off this much. We're talking about two teams that have 210 regular season meetings together. And they hate each other. They despise each other. And even in the short interim coaching battle we're seeing with Matt LaFleur and some of the nuances and pleasantries or non-pleasantries that have been spoken in the offseason, Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson are going to go at it on Saturday night, and they're going to hope their players follow suit. Yeah,
that's for sure. And I saw you on the NFL Network. You brought up a great point. 210 meetings just twice in the playoffs.
I was talking to my buddy Zach Zaman, and he's like, can you believe it? Like, this is rare territory, Lou, that we're talking about teams that have faced off this much, but have only 1941 and 2010 meetings in the playoffs. And the last one, I remind you, was against a certain quarterback named Aaron Rodgers, who went on to win the Super Bowl over the Pittsburgh Steelers. So when you think about history, these teams haven't been in the dance very often, which speaks to how good they are right now. And the storylines couldn't be better. You have Jordan Love coming off a concussion that was handed to him by Austin Booker back in week 16, and he hasn't played. So will he be rusty, or will the ones versus ones reps that he's been getting in practice leading into week 18, a game against Minnesota that he didn't play in purposely, though was the backup. So he has been ready to go, but he's probably got a little bit of revenge in the back of his mind facing this Chicago team at Soldier Field. I mean, who could have written the script any better?
Yeah, I'm with you. Bears have lost 2 in a row. Their defense really torn apart the last couple of weeks by Brock Purdy, and even Jordan Love, while he was out there healthy, was having his way with this Bears defense. But the Packers have dropped 4 games in a row as well without Micah Parsons. Which team has bigger issues to overcome right now?
What a great question. Hard to answer, because I think every team has issues and holes right now because it's such a long, violent season. You're seeing attrition on both sides. When you're talking about the Packers, Lou, the defense without Micah Parsons, so again, the first game was the Chicago game, so it's really been the last 3 games. They've given up roughly, I think it's 392 total yards defensively, which is a lot. And so what will they be against a Chicago Bears team that, we know loves to run the ball, though they didn't against Detroit? 65 rush yards for a team that averages 150. They're one of the top 3 rushing attacks all season since their bye in week 5. That'll be interesting. And again, you're talking about a defense without Micah Parsons, where the sack rate obviously has gone down in Green Bay, but the blitz rate up roughly 10% because they got to find ways to manufacture pass rush. So we'll see where that blitz comes from. And then to your point, Lou, defensively for the Chicago Bears, they have given up some yards. But as Tom Brady said, they've been bend, don't break. I mean, they were pretty good by and large in the red zone against the Lions, who still put up over 400 total yards of offense, but only got 16 points in that game in the victory. They rely on takeaways. They have to take the ball away, because when they do, nobody scores more points off takeaways than the Bears. But if Chicago can control the ball a little bit better on the ground, Lou, and keep it away from Jordan Love and company, that really helps their defense, and it keeps their defense fresh. And we'll certainly keep our eye on C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was obviously banged up. I think it was the concussion, right, at the end of that game against Detroit.
Yeah, all good points. Hey, Ben Johnson, after the game, Stacey, said, we've got to coach better going forward. Mm-hmm. How do you think, what do you think he means by he needs to be better? Where does he need to be better?
Well, I think he's pretty good, but I think he's his own worst critic.
Yeah.
And I think the high achievers are. I think the best athletes and the highest achievers in life are harder on themselves than anybody. So that, to me, is just a natural Ben Johnson reaction. What I found interesting, Lou, was he said they simplified the offense, and I'm curious to know why. And I'll be curious to hear his presser Monday here today, because why did they simplify their offense? What does he have in the bag? What is he cooking up for the Green Bay Packers? I'm going to be very interested to. I wish I could be fly on the wall sitting in their meetings this week and what they add on the practice field to thwart this Jeff Hafley defense. But listen, when it comes to Ben Johnson, I think everybody's been pretty impressed. 11 wins his first season, helping transform Caleb Williams to the NFL game in this offense with a really good run game. I think he's done a pretty damn good job.
He's done a great job. How do you think the Bears respond Saturday?
You have no choice. It's the playoffs. You have to leave everything on the line, and you have to put everything out there. So whatever you were holding back or keeping, or maybe which ways are you going to get more creative with your pass rush, or find a new little wrinkle. But I'll tell you one thing, whoever has the fewest mistakes is going to win on Saturday night. That's the bottom line. You can't turn it over. You can't have miscommunication when you change coverages defensively, because these teams are good enough. They're going to make you pay. And I think whichever team has the fewest mistakes is going to be victorious on Saturday evening. You know,
I just saw that Seattle's the #1 seed in the NFC. They're the favorite also to win the Super Bowl. You think they're the best team?
When you look at their defense, Lou, you can argue that, because Sam Darnold has played so efficiently in that offense, and they have so many skill players, guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba to get the ball to, a fantastic running game. But their defense is certifiably outstanding.
Yeah.
And I think both sides of the football being that good, you could make the case, but shoot, man, this thing is wide open this year. If we haven't learned that, that's one thing I've learned. It's the parity has been off the charts, balanced across the board.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let me give you a wrap up, because you've made Chicago your home, since 2006 when you came and joined the Sky?
Yeah, a little trip there to California for a few years, but I came back because this is my home. I love this place. So, yeah, I've been here for a long time.
We love having you as a Chicagoan for my entire life. You travel the country, you cover the NFL. Is there anything better than the passion of Bears fans, especially during a season like this?
I don't know. I don't think so in sports, because this is a religion here in Chicago. And what makes me super happy for Bears fans is they've waited so long to have this level of confidence in their team. And that holds so true in so many respects. You have something to root for. The Cubs were pretty good this year, man. But right now, what the Bears are doing, these tailgates are better than they've ever been. And I can tell you what, you know this, Lou, and I'll see you Saturday. That place is going to be rocking. Those cement walls may crumble a little bit, because they're going to be out to get the Packers on Saturday night.
Yeah, they may have to rebuild Soldier Field, whether they want to or think they have
might
the
get a
money
new stadium
or not.
anyways down there.
Yes, exactly. Stacey, I know it's going to be a busy week for you. We will be watching. Thank you so much for the time. You're terrific. We'll see you Saturday night.
Love you, Lou. Thanks.